WrestleMania 40 is just around the corner, so we thought we would bring you our Raw After WrestleMania predictions. First up, the return of Bo Dallas. Now, anybody who saw the WWE documentary Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal may have seen somewhat of a teaser for the return of Bo. Whether he does make a return as Uncle Howdy, or perhaps as Bo Dallas, or some other imaginative character from the world of Wyatt, all remains to be seen. However, it does seem that a return is imminent for Bo, and for him to continue the legacy of his late brother, we think would be absolutely amazing. But he may not be coming alone, because what about the likes of Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss? Now, Braun has been off TV for quite some time with an injury. He has been getting ready for an in-ring return. We've seen him recently doing WWE media, so could we finally get to see the return of Braun to WWE TV? And what about Alexa Bliss? Anyone who follows her on social media will have seen Alexa is also trying to make a bit of a return to the ring. She's getting herself ready for a comeback. And as we know, the last time we saw Alexa, she was very heavily involved with everything to do with Bray Wyatt. So could we see perhaps the formation of the Wyatt Six that we never got to see? But, you know, I would love to see Ray, his memory, his vision continue to shine in WWE. So with Bo coming back, maybe we will get to see Braun and Alexa also join up with potentially some others as well. So Bo Dallas, Braun, Alexa, could they be back on the Monday after WrestleMania? What else have we got? Sami Zayn. So I do not believe that he will dethrone Gunther. This, in my mind, makes something very poetic with him and Gable. Could we get to see a bit of a fallout between these two and an eventual rivalry off the back of it? Gable is taking on the managerial role, the coach role for Sammy to try and get him prepared for Gunther. If he doesn't get the job done, could we see a heel Sammy? Could he turn on Gable? Or could we get the opposite and Gable be kind of like, I told you so? And ultimately, we get Sammy versus Chad Gable. And I would love to see it. I do firmly believe Gable should be the one to dethrone Gunther, but we will see if that will be the case. What about NXT Callups, I hear you ask? Well, Dragunov, he seems like he is earmarked for the main roster very, very soon. Could be as early as this Monday. Depends what happens at Stand and Deliver, but if he does lose that title, then maybe we do get to see that call up, and maybe he becomes next in line for Gunther, because there's a lot of history there between those two. So very interesting happenings could be happening on Raw after WrestleMania. Speaking of other NXT call-ups, we do have the likes of Roxanne Perez, we do have the likes of Trick Williams, and we do have the likes of Carmelo Hayes, who are all very capable of being on the main roster and very much could be coming up very, very soon. Will it be as soon as this Monday? Not too sure, but we do have a history post-WrestleMania of seeing some NXT call-ups. So between Dragunov and these three, it does seem like we may be getting some NXT members on the Raw roster pretty imminently. Following on as well from this, we do have Rhea Ripley, who, again, I believe will retain against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. There are clearly some unfinished business between Rhea and Liv, and Liv does not seem to have any match or anything planned for WrestleMania, so big shame for her, but hopefully that's because it's going to allude to a post-Mania feud with Mami herself, and we get Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and we get to see some pretty awesome stuff. Could Liv be the one to dethrone Rhea? Perhaps, but I do expect this to kick off pretty soon after WrestleMania. Could be this coming Monday. What about Damien Priest? Is he going to cash in at WrestleMania? I'm not so sure. I feel like there's so much going on with the main event already, with the Bloodline, with Drew, with essentially Cody's Avengers and everything that's going on there. So I do think we're going to get Rock and Roman winning on night 1. I do think we're going to get Cody finishing his story on night 2. But where does Damien fit into all this? I do think there's the opportunity for him to cash in on Cody, because that would annoy a lot of people. He finally finishes the story only to lose the title the very next night on Raw. Or we could see similar things with Drew McIntyre, depending on the status of CM Punk. Maybe Drew McIntyre beats Seth, he's in the ring, CM Punk does something, cause a distraction, and we get Damian Priest cashing in. But either way, if it doesn't happen at Mania, I firmly believe it's happening on the Raw after Mania, so Damian Priest will cash in and win the world title. What else might we see? Well, talking to Cody, if Damian doesn't cash in on him and Cody does finish his story, what is next for the American Nightmare? I would love to see Cody and Randy Orton kicking off some kind of feud here. Maybe Orton rocks up to congratulate him, only to hit him with an RKO, and we then get the former mentor versus protege, not prodigy, he might be a prodigy, but protege in Cody versus Randy Orton. I think that would be a fantastic first feud for Cody as champ, because after he finishes his story, he needs to start a new chapter. So what's that going to be? I firmly think Randy Orton is that choice. Lastly, we're going to get a draft, because we need a draft. If Cody does win the title, he technically becomes the SmackDown champion. However, Cody is a Raw superstar. Does he move over there straight away? What are Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis going to say about all this? I do believe we are alluding to some sort of match between those two at some point anyway, although Nick does seem to have picked up some sort of injury recently, so we may have to wait for that. But a draft does seem to be imminent. It may not be directly on the Raw after WrestleMania, but I do certainly think that the conversation will begin to happen on Raw after WrestleMania. So what do you think of these predictions? What do you think is going to happen at WrestleMania? You can check out our WrestleMania predictions from a couple of weeks ago, early ones. Let's see how right we are. And let us know in the comments what you think. Is there anything else you think will happen on the Raw after WrestleMania this year? Let us know, and we'll catch you on the next one.